Welcome to another episode of the Ginger ROAMance. Here, you'll hear anonymous stories from travellers all over the world. Real submissions from real people. Tales of connection, romance, passion, heartbreak, friendship, and love in all its forms. Because every kind of love deserves to be told. This week's episode is called When the Past Knocks, from Vietnam and Thailand. I received a Facebook message from my high school sweetheart. My high school sweetheart. I stared at the screen in disbelief, my teenage self squealing somewhere inside me. It had been around 15 years or so since I'd last spoken to him. He was the first boy I ever loved. We met as kids, built a friendship, and eventually crossed into something more. But we were never officially together. Wrong timings, messy communication, a love story that never quite landed. He'd recently been at a party and had been chatting with my brother about me. His curiosity must have sparked, and the next thing, he's in my inbox checking in. Talking to him felt like being 16 again. Effortless, fun, and a little mysterious. The kind of conversation that makes you forget time exists. Messages here and there turned into daily chats, then voice notes, then long phone calls. When I mentioned I was heading to Thailand, he said he wanted to come with me. We even chose dates. One thing bothered me though. As far as I knew, he had a wife and 3 kids. I questioned him about it, and he brushed it off lightly. A vague, "It'll be fine." Sometimes he flirted. I told myself I was imagining it. He was always charming back in school. Maybe this was just him being him. 2 months later, while I was in Vietnam, he finally told me he'd separated from his wife the year prior. And it was like a door that had always been left slightly ajar suddenly flew wide open. The what-ifs I'd carried for years came rushing in. Maybe this was our moment. Maybe we finally had a shot. Our messages grew warmer, flirty, and nostalgic. One day, I came back to my hostel and found a bouquet of pink roses at my door, with a note, "Love from home." I had no idea who sent them. When I messaged him a photo, he stayed quiet, until he sent me another picture of the flowers and the hostel owner on a motorbike. He'd seen where I was staying on my socials, contacted the owner, and organised him to buy me flowers. From another country. I melted. It was thoughtful, grand, and exactly the kind of gesture that messes with your heart. Soon after, I flew home for a few weeks, and by chance, so would he. I caught up with my close friend, who also went to school with us. I told her everything that had been going on, and she was stunned. I'd talked about him for years, dreamed about him even. She told me straight, "You need to ask him what this is." I agreed, but God, my stomach twisted. 20 years of longing bundled into one future conversation. The first morning I got back, he texted me at 5 a.m. Back and forth messages, then suddenly, "What number is your aunt's house?" I froze. Seconds later, he was walking up the driveway. We sat in my aunt's lounge like polite strangers, catching up. It was awkward, sweet, and surreal. He stayed half an hour, charming my aunt and uncle, and left me swooning all over again. We saw each other briefly over the next few days. Quick visits, glimpses. His kids were around too, playing, laughing, a reminder of the life he was navigating. And still, I didn't ask the question. The moment never felt right. The day he was leaving town, he turned up unexpectedly again, just to say goodbye. A 10-minute drop-in, and then he was gone. Walking down the driveway while I watched, heart full and tangled. I hated that I didn't speak up. That night, I sent the message I'd been too scared to voice. I told him the truth, that talking to him had woken old feelings, and I was left wondering whether what was going on between us was more than friends. I wanted to know if he felt the same. I hit the send button just before I went to bed. My heart was racing. I woke up hours later and checked my phone. He had replied. His answer? Yes. He felt it too. He thought we were more than friends and wanted to see where it could go. But he also needed to be realistic. He was mid-divorce, which was complicated and messy. He'd seen relationships fail in that chaos, so we agreed to take it slow, see where things naturally led. And for a while, it was magic. 5-hour late-night phone calls, flirty messages, sexual tension that never fully ended when we were teenagers, now blooming again like it had just been waiting. I was hopeful. Finally, this could be our time. But then came silence. Messages slowed, then stretched into weeks. I understood that he was busy. Kids, work, the legal maze of separation, but uncertainty gnawed at me. I was back overseas in Thailand, half expecting him to appear on the dates that we had planned, half terrified he wouldn't. I spoke to a friend about it who said, "You call everyone else out on their shit, why not him?" And he was right. I was scared, terrified of rejection from the one person I'd kept a light burning for. I eventually built up the courage. I called him. No answer. My stomach sank, the realization slowly creeping in that this may be the end of our romantic, movie-worthy love story. I wrote another message, honest and gentle. I told him that I was finding it hard navigating the ups and downs of our communication, that the inconsistency made me anxious, that I understood he had a lot going on in his life right now. I didn't need constant attention, just communication. Even a simple, "I'm going away for work for a few weeks and won't be available to chat," or "I'm dealing with a lot right now and I need some space," would be enough. Anything. I wanted clarity, respect, something real. When I finally pressed send, I felt sick. That message was sent on the 21st of November, 2024. To this day, he has never opened it. Days of checking, then weeks, hoping, hurting, wondering which was worse, silence or a breakup text, if you can even call it a breakup. Every time I saw the messenger status active, a little shard of hope cracked inside me. Maybe he just hadn't seen it. Maybe he would. Maybe. Finally, a wiser version of me rose up and whispered, "You deserve better. I deserve effort. I deserve honesty. I deserve someone who doesn't disappear when things get real. I'm not a girl waiting anymore. I'm a woman choosing." So, I let it go. Slowly, painfully, and then finally, completely. I closed that door once and for all and threw away the key. Thanks for listening. Make sure you're following along to keep up to date with weekly stories that will inspire, entertain, and maybe even make you fall in love with the idea of love itself.
Got your own romance story and want to be a part of the Ginger Romance community? Check the notes for details on how to submit your own.